Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele. Francis. Up top, which I thought was going to be for the last time this season, but it's not. Second to last is Michelle Nash. How you doing tonight, Michelle?
You know, I'm good. I also thought it was going to be the last one of the season, but of course they had to stretch it to 21 because what a great number to end off on.
And coming down below tonight, as almost per usual, is Fanta. How are you doing tonight, Fanta?
I'm well. We're almost free.
We're almost free. Why are they doing this to us? Like, I love talking to you guys, so that's not the thing, but I just want it to be concluded. Like, I want it to be, like, done, and they just want to drag it on. Is it that popular? Are they making that much money? Like, what's the deal? What is it?
I mean, it must be like a money thing, but I agree. I love talking to you girls, but when I saw that like part 1, I was like,
I know. I was like, and still an hour and a half.
Why was it an hour and a half with 7-minute long commercials?
Like, they would show a quarter of one argument and then there'd be a commercial. And then we would see the continuation of that one argument. And then I'd be like, okay, we're going to bring up one new comment. Here's a tweet, blah, blah, blah. Next, after the break. And then it would show like what's going to happen. And then there'd be a commercial. And then they would show that next thing. And then it kept going like that. But you know what? I mean, there were some moments that I enjoyed. But as a whole, I felt like it was just so uber focused on Fessy, which like in a way I'm glad because he looked like a fucking idiot. But at the same time, I'm just like, oh, this is why he's going to keep getting cast. Even though he has zero personality, he is the center of so much drama. So they're always going to want that person in there. And it just made me realize that like even more.
Lord have mercy. So I just felt like it's kind of like a free-for-all, I'd say right now. We'll go through these comments and like I wrote down all the events that happened, but like no real order. We'll just kind of get through what was talked about in our opinions and, you know, and enjoy it because like some of the things that they brought up, we never really got, well, we probably did, but we could talk about them again. Let them breathe a little bit one more time. And we'll see what these people, our friends here in the chat room, have to say. So we have Norma. Hi, Norma. Hello, ladies. CT was way too nice to Fessy. I hope CT puts him in his place on part 2. I hope so, too. So they kind of even end it with a cliffhanger. Like, get a clue, MTV. Nobody likes the cliffhangers. What do you guys think about how...
Especially for a reunion. It's so low stakes. It's like so many people are just going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to head over to Paramount Plus and watch a regular season of something else as opposed to like waiting on a reunion.
Right? Or like, let's just get on Twitter. like just read the comments. Reddit, I'm sure, has everything that was spoken about at the reunion. I have to say, this could be a hot take, but I felt that the host, I believe his name is Vernon, I think he was better this season.
He was better.
He was. Because at first I was like doing the thing where I was like, oh, like, that should have been Devin. And then he was like really going in on people and like he was like pretty quick and like didn't let people go for like certain questions, which I appreciated.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, obviously we all still would love to have Devin. Like, she also has the personality to boot. She knows them personally. It's a different vibe. She would be amazing. But he did a much better job than he's done. And you know, really ask those questions that make you cringe, which is like what you kind of need to do. So
what I think what must have happened, the difference must have been, is that he watched this season. I think he watched it this time. I think last time he didn't watch it. And so he didn't know what to go in on. And he didn't have any invested interest in finding out some of these answers. And so that's what I think was the difference, was that he came armed with more information and he did a little bit of homework. So I definitely agree with you both. I would rather have Devin there just because she's more of an insider. But the fact that he seemed to have done a little bit more homework and was asking more questions that I wanted to know the answer to and not letting them off the hook, I'm like, okay, he's doing better. I appreciate. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, more
as to why they chose him, but
I don't know either. Does anybody know in the chat why they chose him to be? This is his second one for sure. Is it his third?
Maybe he had a contract of like 5 or something.
What's his name again? Werner,
I believe.
I think it's Vernon.
I don't even feel like they said it in the beginning, but maybe they did. I just like didn't hear
They
it.
did. I honestly it was so bad.
Says dug himself even further in a hole than he already was. Honestly, I mean, we're gonna talk like bash Fessy probably a lot this evening, but like I really can't stand like his smug face. Like he does not know how he comes across. He doesn't know what, like when he says things, how rude he is, or like he's just not smart at all. It's just like, and he's so worst.
He is, and also like he just, you see the difference in this whole night. Like the theme was like, let's acknowledge something awkward or stupid or whatever that Fessy did. Fessy's going to have some, there's reasoning behind this, there's reasoning. Give all his excuses. Pretend he's all chill, blah, 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 when really he's the opposite. But like, then you look at CT, who like was the worst in that moment to Big T. We all know that. And was like, yeah, I feel like shit. Like it was, this is what I was struggling with. But at the end of the day, like, I'm sorry that I did that. You know what I'm saying? And like Fessy, all he would need to do to get people to turn around on him is to say, watching this back, wow, I have a new perspective on myself. And I know that it's going to take a while, but I'm going to earn your guys' trust and I'm going to become like an ultimate challenger. And I know that I have to earn my stripes. That's all he'd have to say. And everyone would be like, okay, like, let's see where this goes. Like, he doesn't understand how easy it would be, but he just refuses to be like, to give away any of this, I don't know, ego, control, whatever it is he thinks he has. It's just very confusing.
Sure. I 100% agree with that. And it's so funny because even like Devin was trying to give him a teachable moment.
Exactly.
When, like, he was just like, you've done this like how many times and like you have not ever even made it like through a final. And I've made it through this many. And then Fessy's like, well, like you said you're the puzzle king and you lost to whoever it was like doing the puzzle. And then he's like, yeah. And I admitted it. I lost and I'm admitting it. You still can't admit it. Like that is like a little, like everybody like in their own way throughout this reunion was like, okay, Fessy, like we're trying to tell you, but like he just still like he was so defensive and like just wasn't picking up on that. And it's like, are you ever gonna learn? Are you ever gonna learn and grow? Like it was just basically, and I knew going into it, but it was just basically like it was a roast of Fessy. It was Comedy Central's Fessy's roast.
But he's not having a good humor about it at all.
No.
And he's like kind of laughing off like some things, but as a whole, he is just digging himself deeper and deeper. It's just it was just, honestly, my eyes were like this for half of it. And not just because I was smoking weed, because honestly, I was just like in pain in moments because I'm like, ugh, like now I have to watch this again. And I know he's not going to take responsibility. He's not going to take accountability. He's going to be a douche about it. Now I have to watch Tori also be annoying. Like, it's just a whole thing.
Tori was like, just so
yes, it's the worst.
Tori doesn't have what's it, like a personality. So what happens like when you have Tori like doing things, like everything is just so like she's just like doing it for show, and she's just like, okay, like I'm doing this thing and like I'm gonna be funny. I'm gonna do this thing and like I'm gonna be like a tough competitor, but like she just doesn't embody any of those things. So it's just really cringe to watch. Because you don't really like, if you could really ask every challenge fan, like, who is Tori? They would be like, I don't know. Like
they were whoever she's like in a relationship with.
Exactly.
She's a chameleon in that way. She's not her own person, I would say. He definitely identifies or is identified when in relationship, is my opinion of Tori. So, hi Amanda. Fessy makes my skin crawl. This reunion was way too much about him. Yep, and so is this recap. It's going to be really annoying, but get it out there. Hi Liz. Fessy is the new villain of the challenge, but the problem is he's a crappy one. God, I don't mind a villain. Like, I don't know if it was just me. You saw there was a moment between commercial breaks where Devin and Anissa were kissing through their mask. It's like Devin is just so much more likable. He could be the biggest shit. He could be the worst competitor. He could lose the puzzle. He could call people out, but he still has Anissa wanting to fake make out with him with the mask on because he's still funny and likable and people want to be around him. And so he definitely needs to take out a page out of Devin's page book because Fessy doesn't get how to be a villain, a likable competitor. Like, he doesn't get any of it. Even with his explanation, oh my God, how much did this annoy you guys when he was talking about, like, you know, when it was the Fessy compromised agents segment where he's on Instagram live or something, being like, give me any competitor in a physical competition and I'll take him down. I can't lose. I'm the number one competitor. I'm like, this is not what the challenge is, babe. Like, it's absolutely not what the challenge is.
Exactly. That's not what the challenge is. Not physical eliminations. And even within physical, for you shouldn't have just said physical. You just said physical one-on-one combat through a small space. Like, that's what it is that you are able to do. Because there are physical things like, for example, that rope one where Jordan beat Josh, which I know Josh is a doofus, but like, I still think he could have beat Fessy because he's smart. And like, there are things that are physical, but physical, mental mixed together. And what do you define that as? You know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't even won a pole wrestle because it looked too jank for him. Like, janky or whatever. So no, it was such a ridiculous statement. And as you said, that doesn't make you the best challenger anyway. Like, you being if you even were that statement, that means nothing. That's one little sliver of what the challenge is.
I've been watching all these old seasons and like I'm obsessed. And like I'm just looking, I'm like, oh my God, I'm really hoping that if the producers are trying to lean into this Fessy villain arc, whatever, but I hope that they also lean into trolling him. And so making all the competitions being really goofy and janky like they used to. So I just watched the one in Cutthroat where they're all hanging by their feet and they have to pass around like a relic and they're just all just like kind of moving like they can't move, like hilarious. People aren't good. I also just saw recently when they were in those sleeping bags, those like, I think they called it Mexican carpets, and they were like, they roll the sand, like let's get this big boy to do all these dumb things, and I want to see him be the best competitor there.
Yeah, because I mean that's the thing that you like look at, like if you think about like old seasons and you think about like people like for people who haven't watched old seasons with like CT, he was like a maniac. Like, he was like not a nice dude. He was really scary. And like, I just started watching The Duel 2 today and rewatching it. And like, he's just such a scary human being, but no matter what, he would still go all in on all of the challenges. There was like a few exceptions, of course, but like he would never be like, oh, I'm not eating that, or like, well, I'm not doing that.
No, there was times where they like wanted to get the women off their team, so they would like the guys in the team would try to throw it.
Trimming the fat.
Yeah.
Yes, Liz, we agree. He has zero personality. His personality is him saying that he can beat people in a physical competition. Like, that's all he's got. Like, what else? What is his other selling features? Like, if he was like on like, okay, let's pick like if he was fresh meat days, like he would just be like, I can run far distances and I can do hall brawls. Like, would he even have been good at the obstacle stuff that, like, would he have been the #1 draft pick other than his height?
No.
Like, he wouldn't even have beat Noor. I also just watched Fresh Meat 2 again. So, like, I know all these people.
No,
like,
Noor had the best score, remember?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, could he be
yeah, it was overall. Like, Cara had the best score over Laurel. even though Laurel was maybe stronger in some things or whatever, but it was based on what that thing is with the upskills and this and that, which Kara's always like, you know, been good at that stuff, unless it has like words or math or whatever. But
yeah,
and just like also seeing like what's his name, Abram, like just like these animals that were like the beasts of the challenge that just would go in and do anything really, really well. And it seems like that's what Fessy wants to be, but like he doesn't do everything really well. It's just like he only does one thing that he thinks really well, but he's had really partners that weren't equally matched. Sorry, Fanta, what were you saying?
Well, I mean, that's what who was it that said, I can't remember which one of the women, like, I mean, it was great because all of the women went in on him, and like the first thing that they went on in him for was because he just treated all of his partners like shit. And I mean, yeah, the way that he did it, we talked about this all season long. He was really shitty about it. And then he started to get defensive. And then all the women were like, no, it's not a matter of you not vibing with your partner that's the issue. It's the way that you were doing it, where you were like acting cool to them, to their face, and then you're doing whatever, blah, 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 behind their back, like complaining about it. And he's like, well, I don't like talking like bad, like to people's faces. And then again, all the girls jumped on him and they were like, no, dude, that's not what that is. That's being real with a person. Cam is specifically saying that. That's being real with a person and saying like, hey, like, I don't want to rock with you to the final. Like, I want a new partner.
Exactly.
Instead of doing what he did the entire time. But like every time, like, it's so interesting. I've never really seen it to this capacity. Maybe there has been, but just everybody just like going in on one person and just being like, in that capacity. I mean, people have always given one person shit, but like to be like, you're immature. Like, you're an immature person and you're not as good as you think that you are. You are specifically going after people who are smaller than you.
Which is what Am even said.
Yeah, exactly. And she has a point. Like, that's not something that she's done before. And like Fessy, I don't know, played football or whatever. And you're specifically going with people who are not in your weight class. But it was so funny to me when they pull Kyle up and Fessy's like, well, like, what happened? Like, I beat you, whatever. And then Fessy's like, well, technically, I got medically DQ'd.
Kyle, yeah. He's like, yeah, broke my finger. He didn't beat me. He broke my finger.
Kyle had so many zingers tonight that were so excellent. And can we just talk about that moment when Amber M is like, they're talking about their tweet battle, blah, 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 blah. And like, he wrote that tweet in response, calling her out as a joke, and then deleted it. But like, in no way has a friendship or communicates with her in any way. So it was a joke, but you're not friends, and there's no LOL, and it's like rude in line with what we know of your personality or your whatever manner. Yeah, and then you deleted it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you delete it, and then you still, as she said, like acknowledge it again later in other tweets or whatever. And then he's like, I didn't want to start any Twitter drama, but you did though. You did want to start Twitter drama because you had to make the piece known, but then you're like, I'm too cool, I'm erasing it. Actually deleting it is like hilarious because everyone saw it. It's still there forever. Like,
you know that everybody on Reddit is waiting for you to tweet something, Fessy. Like, everything is just going to be screen grabbed in a second. So there's no way that you can get away with that with the Reddit world and Twitter.
It's like Fessy's PR team slept in today. Like, I don't really like. He just didn't have any good excuses for anything. Like, he just couldn't apologize. And he got torched.
It was delicious. Delightful. My favorite Fessy trashing moment was from Anissa when she's talking about like, you won't eat anything, you won't eat here, you wouldn't eat here, whatever. And he was like making up excuses as to who wasn't going to eat. And you know, Nani like, oh, didn't you say that you wanted me to not win so that you could steal me, blah blah blah. Like, and Vanessa's like, that's not the reason why you weren't going to eat, but like, let's hope that you eat in the bedroom. And I was like, yes, call him out. There's no way he goes down. No way he goes down. No way.
Oh, are you kidding?
excuse would be like,
no way.
well, I'd be off the bed. Like, I'm such a big guy. I'd be like down on the floor. Like, I can't do that.
I'm so tired because there's so many kids. I just, it was a lot of work just pumping, okay?
Like, honestly, I think there's a reason that Fessy and Tori had that like little shindig in Costa Rica together or wherever it was, Cancun, and then they never hooked up again. Like, I'm sure there's a reason behind that. Like, they're just friends. They're better as friends.
In the bedroom, he has to be like. There's no way that somebody that's so selfish and like and delusional could be good. Like, it's just impossible. Hi, 90. So impossible. Hi, Nicole. Everyone looked real cute at the reunion. Yes, everybody did look quite nice. Even those I don't care for, they know who they are. Y'all know who they are. Oh, and well, I didn't think Fessy looked good. I thought he looked kind of dorky with his like turtleneck and his plaid pants. Like, I didn't think he looked good personally. I did think CT looked even more slim than he did on the season, so he looked a little bit more spelt. I wanted to see Ashley's dress, like or pantsuit, like it looked.
Oh, it's
glamorous.
completely see-through. I've seen pics with like little pasties.
Ooh,
She's just living her truth.
Thing. I wanted to see it. And I wanted to always just say, like, hey man, sorry, I'm $1 million richer and you're not. Like, just say that sometimes to these people because
I love Ashley, and I love how they like took that moment that Cam like or whatever took that moment to acknowledge that she, you know, people need to find reasons to not like her because maybe they don't like her personality, they don't like that she's won multiple times, they don't feel like her wins are worthy because of X, Y, and Z, and so they attach this thing that she took away something from a man, and now she's like hated. And oh, she's so untrustworthy. And it's true. It makes zero sense because she was loyal in that annoying War of the Worlds, whatever, that big alliance. She was in that alliance. She was loyal. She's even loyal to a fault, in my opinion. Like, I would never say that she's someone who is going to backstab in that kind of way with her actual alliances. She is someone who I'd trust if I was playing some sort of like game.
If it was Lavender Ladies, you could still trust her.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like, it doesn't really like, it was just such an unwarranted argument. So I did appreciate that they at least took a moment to like acknowledge that's ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
because she stole money. And as she said, everyone else would have done the same if they were berated the way that she was by Hunter.
Exactly. And I'm glad that like Nani stood up. I'm glad that Cam did. And I hope that's the fucking end of it. I'm so tired of hearing it because like nobody talks about Johnny stealing money from Sarah anymore. And like they were friends. Sarah wasn't like berating Johnny the entire season and like Hunter called Ashley a whore and like all of this heinous stuff. He was heinous. And like Johnny, I retroactively hate him now.
Oh, always.
I have spoken like, I've always been like, yeah, Johnny, like, and I have watched old seasons of The Challenge and I'm like, he is a horrible fucking human being who has never had to answer for how shitty he's been. The only thing that he's ever had to answer for essentially is like how many times he's won. And people are like, let's just get him out right away. But he hasn't ever had to answer for being like an insane misogynist. Insane. Like he was horrific.
Oh,
I also just watched Island and like he's not nice there. Not like, no.
Oh my God. He like I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is like almost unwatchable to see how these women are getting treated. And I just had to deal with it.
And like Paula was his like best friend from Real World, and he still treats her like dirt. Like that's the thing is I always hated Bananas, but then like as time went on, and I obviously hated the thing with Sarah because Sarah was always one of my faves, and love her and her genuine commitment to you know, I always loved her, and so obviously I hated him, but it made sense with his character. Like I was like, yeah, his character would make this choice because he's the worst, and over time, it's like he understands that it's a TV show and he knows how to like sway in, sway out, like, you know, acknowledge certain things, talk in a charming way, like whatever. It makes sense why he's on TV. And, you know, he wouldn't get away with the same things
no,
that he said back then.
No.
But at the same time, I agree with you. He's never really had accountability for all that horrible stuff. Like, and it gets pretty brutal. But yeah, that's why he was never one of my faves. But then once all the others left and everything, and he was the one that kind of came through, it was like, well, you can't deny that he has obviously trained himself to be really good at finals and like really good at challenges. And he's like a good social strategic player, you know? He's figured it out. So I have to like respect that part of the game. But like, yeah, I'm never gonna love bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
like,
also, but then yeah,
go ahead.
Also at the same time, you never see like reunions how many seasons later where people are like, yeah, Johnny's a snake.
Yeah, no.
Who stole Sarah's money? Like no one's talking about that anymore. I swear. Oh my God. The next person who like brings up Ashley taking that money.
I think I had a conversation once about how women are portrayed in reality television, especially competitive reality television. And anybody that does anything strategic or for themselves, they are ridiculed, they are berated, they are not respected for any strategically minded woman. And so I'm sure that like we've all been guilty of being like, oh, we don't like them making certain moves and this and that. And like I do have to check myself every once in a while to see if it's like my conditioning of that women aren't supposed to be strategic or make the cutthroat move or do something that is not completely arms open and loving and making sure that everybody else is taken care of before they take care of themselves. Like, and so that is part of, I think, what Ashley's going through is that like she made a decision for herself that was against a man that like, you know, that was strategically minded. Women are not allowed to do that, but men are allowed to do that. We're allowed to see men do that without giving them that much help. Yeah, we were annoyed with Johnny for a little bit. We forgave him really quickly because we allow men to be able to make those kind of decisions. And so that's something that I have learned with doing a little bit more research is that there is a common thread with not wanting women to win any of these seasons because women don't get respect for doing the same things. They don't get treated the same way by doing the exact same thing that a man would do. And so this is where the Fessys of the world kind of come into play because they don't respect women doing things that they can do. And so, yeah, I agree with you, Fanta, that like it should be the end of us really not respecting Ashley for her making a move that if any other man did, it would have been over. It wouldn't be talking about it anymore. And I was feeling for Ashley in that moment too, because she's like, she did feel as though Nelson was being a little bit two-faced. And, you know, she was like being nice to her friends outside the challenge and then saying that she's a snake. I did feel for her about that.
And then he apologized.
Yes, and it seems genuine.
He accepted, at least on TV, that he had made a mistake and he didn't want to make her feel that way. He said those words. Why is it so difficult for Fessy to take 2 seconds to just apologize to anybody? Like,
he's not smart.
Like it's so crazy. Like it's absurd.
Is this the most episodes of a challenge season ever? This is is as long of a season as a regular season of network television show. Not even all, like only some network television shows go to 23 episodes sometimes. I remember Arrow went to 23 and I was like, Jesus, it's so long. It's still on. But like usually episodes or seasons are about 13 episodes and 14 with a reunion. Like that's a standard length of a season. So we're going into like almost double a season territory. Like Big Brother Canada, it ends next week, okay? A full season. And it's going to be ending the same week as the challenge that started last year. What?
Yeah, it's, I feel as though, I want to bring this up. I feel as though, I mean, we have been joking this whole season that it's been too long. But it's so interesting because we talked about this, ladies, all of the drama that they didn't show in this season, and it just like made me think, I'm like, why were there so many episodes that just seemed like nothing was like really happening when there was like, in my opinion, reading all the drama that they didn't show, I felt like that was better than what they did show.
Do these people
Can you give some examples?
I guess you're talking about like the makeouts with Amber M.
So Big T hooked up with Ashley.
I did hear that.
That's one thing. And then Amber M and Michi hooked up, which we like kind of knew, but it was Amber M that got really, really pissed at Michi and like poured shampoo all over his bed.
Oh.
I have more.
Tell me.
Okay, give me a second. Let me just pull it up. But there's like some stuff where I was like, I would have wanted to see somebody put shampoo on somebody else's bed.
We haven't seen pranks like that in a while. Dolores, don't be saying these things. You might like enact it into reality. You don't put it in Ashley's manifestation book because we do not want that to come true.
Oh my gosh. Very funny. Okay, give me a moment. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes, I'll go through and see what's going on with friends here. Okay, the host didn't bother me as much this season. I agree, ladies. It still should have been Devin, though. Absolutely, Nicole. Dolores. Host was less Vernon, and he definitely has watched. Yeah, Hundo. Vernon Davis was so much better this year. He's a better version. He's a better reunion host than Andy Cohen has ever been for Bravo shows. Ooh, hot take.
Whoa.
I mean, Andy Cohen is a staple, so I can't see it any other way. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a bold statement. Okay, give us the tea, Fanta.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so we all remember it was the first episode when CT threw the shoe in Wes's face.
Yes.
Iconic. So Wes went off on Josh during the first daily because he thought it was Josh who threw the shoe at him.
I did hear that. Wait, so who went off on him though? Wes
went off on Josh because he thought Josh threw the shoe instead of CT.
I did hear Wes say that. What did I watch him on? I think he did it a live. Where did you find that at? Was it written or did you watch something?
Reddit is my source, but it's all from Challenge T 511.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did remember seeing that. I would have liked to see Wes go off on Josh. That would have been great.
Yeah, like, yes. It's so funny. Ashley and Natalie cursed out the cast after their elimination.
Ooh.
After Ashley lost to Natalie?
Yes. Again, would have loved to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sorry. No, it wasn't Amber M. It was Liv that threw a drink on Michi and poured shampoo all over his bed.
Okay, yes. That would have been great.
Oh my God. Why would we want to watch Josh throw water over his shoulder to Kyle?
I mean, that was funny, though. Like, I was like, apparently the water really got me going. I was like, Kyle, you're so funny.
He's very funny. He's perfect. So, okay, before I continue, another thing, I can't remember if we talked about this, but Wes also mentioned that Liv was like an incredible rookie and that her social game was like amazing and that she was like making moves, making plans, and she was setting herself up really, really well for the rest of the season, but then she got injured. But they didn't show any of that, which is kind of interesting.
They showed that because she got injured and she was off.
Yeah.
I think that they probably had to recut, like, you know what I mean? Like, they probably changed what they were showing because it wasn't really going to be relevant. They weren't building that storyline with her anymore. So she wasn't really visible in the first couple episodes, and it's probably because they cut out any of her storyline because it wasn't really relevant.
Sad. So, I mean, because I was like, oh, I don't want Liv to have, like, I don't care if Liv doesn't come back on, but like, if she's going to bring it, then yes, I want to see it. Here for it. Okay. Lolo and Nam kissed, but the cameras didn't catch it.
In the closet that time?
I don't know.
Like, what kind of kiss?
I don't know. We'll never know because Lolo will never tell. And I don't think Nam will either.
Or Nam.
Ashley and Leo had a fight. I don't know how interesting that could have been, but could have been anything. Okay, Amber M and Michi, we know they made out. Anissa and Amber made out. I feel like we kind of knew that. And then there was an unaired fight between Fessy and Leroy. Don't know what that was about specifically. And then that's kind of like the most interesting of all of that stuff.
I mean, I would love to see any of that in the, like, how many hours of television did we watch? Like, like the 40 hours of television, they could have included those bits.
Whoa, like
would have been nice.
Like a little like montage, like of like the hookups or something.
Do you think they're gonna do unseen scenes like they usually do in the second day?
I think they'll just like weave it into the reunion.
Well, hopefully part 2 is better than part 1, because I mean I enjoyed it because I like talking to you guys about whatever happened there. I probably wouldn't care that much if I wasn't. Yeah. I hope it's better.
Agreed.
Hi, Carolyn. I have to agree. So Nani being so happy for Leroy and Cam made me tear up. I did tear up. I didn't even more tear up. I actually did cry, and I had to I was like this a little bit. Because it was a really sweet moment, especially, they have been friends for a really long time. They started this journey together. She even called him out to be the ultimate fuckboy, which he was. He never really had feelings and stuff like that. So you always want to see, the good ones finally find somebody and settle down, to know that there's hope for that one bad boy that you're having in your life, that you're like, why didn't you just fucking settle down with me?
Yeah. I did like that moment a lot, and it was really sweet that like Nani was crying and that Leroy just like fully admitted like he's just shown so much growth. Like you could count on like one hand how many challengers have had like such an arc like that, and just in the end we're like, yeah, and like this is where I end, and like this is how I was, and like this is how I've grown, and everyone just wants nothing but the best for the two of them.
And like, did they really need to find like the one bad clip of Leroy saying that shit about her? Like, what? And it wasn't even about her. He just said like it was the worst mistake I made because it like fucked everything up between them and their friendship or whatever, right? And him saying I just wanted to fuck. Like, it's so clear that he's just hurt in that moment. And like, why do they need to? I was just like, like, come on. But I like the way he responded.
Yeah, it was bad. And then it was especially worse when I've actually had to put Vernon's name up here because I keep forgetting it. When Vernon was like, okay, and like, how does that make you feel watching that clip back? And I was like, bitch, like.
And Leroy is so good. He's like, it makes me feel proud because I look at that person. I'm like, oh my God, I look at how much anger that person had and look at where I am now, like.
Exactly. I was like, what do you expect him to say? Like, weird. It was a weird moment.
So much growth. Okay, back to Fessy, guys. Okay, hi, Sam. So, the Gabby comment about her man. Are you fucking kidding me, Fessy?
And then he says it, and then he tries to go back and is like, I didn't say anything. Like, no, whatever. He's just, yeah, well, he's short. Like, what?
He's short.
Gabby was so gracious. Like I felt so bad for Gabby that she had to like sit there and like listen to Fessy, first of all, and just like listen to the whole Fessy and Tori thing. And then like for him to call her boyfriend, he doesn't know him. He's never even met. When you say somebody is like half a man or half a woman, you're like insulting their character and like who they are as a human being. You're like, if you're going to say he's short, go ahead, say he's short. But like, he's such a fucking idiot to say something like that. And then like, everyone is like, hey, what the hell, dude? And then he goes and denies it like a little bitch. And then like, when he's pressed on it more, oh, he's short. I'm like, are you 7? That was awful.
Yeah, 100%. 100,000%. Like,
it was so horrible.
It was horrible.
And, like, Gabby like took it in such stride to just be like, yeah, like anyone, I guess, standing next to Fessy is like half a person. If like you're talking about height, like it was just so uncalled for. Like, why? The thing that like another thing that really frustrated me in that. Sorry, okay, go ahead.
Just finish. I don't know what I'm going to say. Go ahead.
Another thing that just really frustrated me in that portion was like Gabby was also like kind of going to bat for him and was being like, oh, he's like shy and like all of this stuff. And I was like, bitch, like stop defending him. there's no reason that you need to be nice and like defend like his character. Like he literally just said something that was horrible.
She defended him after
he's not an introvert. He's an asshole. That's
exactly. After she had to watch the whole season and see that he was more interested in Tori and have to see all this shit. Obviously, she's with another man and like, you know, that's her own. But like the fact, yeah, like she wasn't saying anything shit about him. And then he had to go and make some fucking comment like that. Like, and then backpedals and pretends that I didn't mean anything. Like, but you said the things, man. You're on TV. You're on TV.
Also, another thing that's interesting about that is like, dude, read the room. Nobody likes you tonight. So why are you also being like a jerk on top of that? Like you already know, like no one likes you. So why are you saying that?
Well, because he is dumb and, you know, he thinks that it makes him the ultimate challenger because nobody can beat him in a physical elimination. I'm tall, I'm tall. Like, who fucking cares? My dad's 6'4", bitch. He'd beat your dad. He'd beat you up. like
that's like
6'3". 6'3" is not that tall. It's tall, but it's not that tall. Like, get over yourself. So that's the thing, is that he doesn't know anything else that defines him other than the fact that he's tall and he's done a lot of football drills. That's all it's got. That's it. Like, if you can tell me more, that would really help me out here. But that he's tall and he's done football drills. That is how I describe Fessy. Hi, Mackenzie. Thanks for joining us. Nice to meet you. Fessy needs a PR team or something. I don't think he would listen to the PR team because he thinks he knows better. He thinks knowing nothing is knowing better than somebody that's educated, you know? Liz, you're so right. Fessy's smug face is so punchable. It is. And I want like someone to get on like a step stool that's actually small and just punch him in the face. Like that would be so funny. Nicole, when they show the clip of the World Reunion, I definitely missed more challenging hosting. But if I were to watch Vernon have the reunion, then I'm fine, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think that if this is the direction that they're going, and he's becoming a fan and coming a little more invested in some of these people, I'm down with Vernon sticking around. You know, like we got eased into TJ as well. You know, we got eased into even Jeff Probst as well. So if this is how it's going to be, I can live with it too.
You know what just occurred to me? So Vernon is obviously like an ex-football player. I'm surprised like he hasn't like trolled Fessy with any like football things.
Like, I mean, I don't think he needs to because I don't even think he considers him in that world. Like he's just like, there's enough life things to troll you about and like show things to troll you about. Like the facts speak for themselves.
But how funny, I agree, but how funny would it be if Vernon was like, you didn't make the draft, did you?
Why do people pull that out? Like, I want CT to be like, hey, man, old or not, I've won 4 finals. How many Super Bowl rings or championships have you won? Just tell me.
It's interesting. Like, I mean, I know CT like has chilled out for the most part, but remember when he did like champs versus like pros or whatever, and there was that one like Terrell Owens or something like that, and like he told him, he was like, you like blew away millions of dollars, like you burned through all your cash, like that's why you're here.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. Oh, it's going to happen. Like, I'm putting this in Ashley's manifestation book. I am putting in there that the producers are going to go back to some of these super troll challenges and see what Fessy is made of. See how many excuses Fessy will have to not be able to be the best of the best in everything. You know, it'll be just really exciting. It looks like the next season is 27. If it gets back into production because it's rumored that it's shut down at the moment because somebody tested positive for COVID. So because that happens, they have to put everybody back in quarantine. Who knows if they're going to have to do some reshuffling with people having to take an extra 2 weeks off of work or other life commitments. It might not be feasible for everybody. So there might be some reshuffling, and maybe some of the people that they sent home, they'll bring back. So it looks to me like it's going to be like another fresh meat style.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which I don't mind, but I wish that the OGs or the vets were more vets. But it's going to be probably like rookie and vets, you know, like actually kind of like the double agents theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the theme for this one is Mission Impossible.
So yeah, it's going to be like agent and like just like apprentice kind of thing, I would guess. You know, learning. I don't know what the name would be. I didn't notice this, Natalie. Did you notice that Tori was smiling the whole time about Fessy? Was it because she knows that he has a small pecker?
I think she was probably just like buzzed. And I mean, as she said, like, to be fair, you know, she's like, after my breakup, yeah, like I was just kind of living. Like in that moment, she was at least honestly being like, yeah, I was like kind of just fucking around because I was recently single and kind of just living my life, and yeah, maybe some weird shit. Like she was even more honest about it than him. Like, you know, like at least she was just like, yeah, I was going through a time, but whatever, we're friends. Like she's,
honestly, like now that I think about it, like your host season during COVID is quite limited after a breakup, so no.
Go to Turks and Caicos with a guy that you think is attractive, and then you realize that he has no personality and he's not fun. It's like, regardless of, like, Tori needs somebody that has more of a personality than she does, right? And if he doesn't, like, they're probably just like, yeah, what do we do? Boring. And like, he doesn't seem like he has swagger. He doesn't know. Like, I need Haley to write a book about her life with Fessy, my time with Fessy. Like, I just need that to come out because that poor thing must have been like tortured.
Babe, it would be a magazine. There wouldn't be enough in there to make it a book. Maybe a pamphlet or a leaflet.
It'd be like 1 page full scap. Mackenzie says, Mackenzie, the fact that CT felt bad made me love him more, while Fessy still has a punchable face since he didn't realize how crappy he was. He'll never realize it. I don't think he will. But I definitely loved when CT pulls out, I don't remember exactly what the language was, but Malawi is from where Big T is from. And so she taught him some phrases in their language. And so he brought that up. And I did feel as though that time when he apologized, he was really genuine. And he did also say that Big T was the best partner that he ever had. And I believe him because she really was good to him. And they really did gel really well together. So were you guys satisfied with that moment in CT's apology?
Yeah.
I feel like Michelle and I had the same reaction. I was just kind of like over it, I guess.
Aw, I liked it.
I was like, yeah, okay, like, yeah, I don't know. This might not be a popular opinion. I do love Big T very, very, very much, but I don't know how I feel about her on the challenge moving forward.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's not going to be a very popular opinion, but
I mean, what I like about Big T is that she has everything that we've always wanted in a challenger. We want somebody that isn't good at these things, that push themselves to the edge, and like they get better and better, and like you're rooting for them. And so I feel like she's still like undeniably an underdog that's still trying to prove herself, and she keeps on doing it. And so I don't know, and she has good wigs, and she's funny, and she's a British accent. I'm not really sure what else you want.
I totally agree with that. I'm just afraid of her getting hurt physically because of her size. It actually gives me anxiety. Like, I'm always just like, and now especially that, like, if she's doing the show and like CT is like not going to be her partner and can't like really help kind of like guide her, that's kind of like, I really don't like watching little challengers get hurt.
Understand. And like, it's kind of like if she was with like a partner like Fessy, like, look at Fessy can pretty much break Casey's leg with him being not a very supportive partner. So someone like Big T that's just trying to show her partner that she's doing well and trying hard. Yeah, I can totally see that she could put herself in dangerous, like, compromising positions when she's not with a partner like CT that cares a little bit more. So, okay, I understand where you're coming from. I was like, what, you don't like her? Oh,
no,
no,
I love her. I love her. I think she is a great addition, but I genuinely am like worried about her physically.
Yeah, is possible. He's not likable and they're keeping him. Why are you talking about? You hope you're talking about Fessy.
Yeah.
I think that we can understand why you'd be talking about CT. CT is amazing. He's had such an arc. You know, he was a shitty bad boy making fights in Paris 20 years ago or whatever. And now he's a man that, like, sometimes makes some bad decisions, but he's still got it. And he's a millionaire now. Like, what's not to like about him? There's a lot to not like about Fessy. Hi, Christina. So I do believe that CT and Corey would beat Fessy in a physical elimination, even though Fessy doesn't think anyone can. Corey, I don't know, because he's a little bit, in my opinion, soft. But CT, he said it really well a couple episodes ago, or like 10 episodes ago, where he was, Nani was saying it about Fessy, like Fessy would kill you with his bare hands CT would kill him with the bare hands while Fessy would go and call a hitman or something like that. And like, I just believe that CT has the grit and like the rage. Like, he could go and he would eat Fessy alive. Corey, I just think is a little bit softer, so I don't know if that would be the case.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also experience. CT has done so many of these, and like, I just think like it's kind of a thing like when you had Jenny versus Tori in the Hall Brawl. Jenny was bigger, stronger, had more muscles, but she just wasn't used to that kind of contact. And I think that if Fessy had contact against somebody who was like kind of around his size and weight, it would be very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
No, CT was cowering a little bit and saying, like, I think we would be a pretty tough fight for both of us. Do you think he's just being humble? And like trying to just like put out this fire? Because Fessy, when they were doing all the CT montages and like just showing all these clips about CT, like you could see Fessy just like so angry. Like, he just can't even be happy for like CT. Like, he can't. He's just so mad that CT, like, people are like, you still got it when they're making CT stand up and be like, you look so good. You look so good. He's just like
yeah. Yeah, I think all of this just like really took Fessy by surprise. I don't think he was really anticipating getting this much hate.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Someone please offer Fessy a bottle of slop to drink. I would love it. I mean, slop is nothing, but he'd probably be like, I can't eat it. Like, such a wuss. CD, speaking BT in language, showed that he really cared and took time to get to know her. Absolutely, Carolyn. I loved that moment too. Even Josh seemed to have learned something. Okay, so what was with Josh and Devin vacating? Like, I talked about this before offline, but like,
well, I know that they ended up on the same flight back when they got eliminated, and so they ended up like communicating, and I think that it was within that time that they went on some sort of mini vacay because they were already like on their way back or whatever. So I don't think it was like a planned thing for the two of them. I think it just like worked itself out. And yeah, that's the thing is like, and Josh, like, we can't stand Josh, but like, he's overshadowed of shittiness with Fessy, because at least Josh as well will say like, yeah, like, I had some messy behavior this season. And yeah, like, I probably shouldn't have said that. Probably shouldn't have done that. Yeah, it was stupid. And yes, he will still do those things again, but he will still say that he shouldn't have done those things. So like, Fessy is not going to say that. Like, yeah. Anyways.
It was interesting. Like, I wasn't annoyed by Josh at all in the reunion.
No.
That's
his shirt a little bit.
Oh yeah, his shirt was god awful. But that's the thing that's so interesting is like, you can see that that's Josh's true personality, that he's just like a totally like fine, normal, and like sweet person. And that's why like all of these people are like such good friends with him. But it's just like the kind of drama that he brings is just not really good quality.
Mm-hmm.
So if only he could like reevaluate that, like he could rehabilitate his character.
I don't know if he's smart enough to do that, but maybe he'll get some perspective when he sees of all the hate that Fessy gets, and like he'd be like, dude, like, okay, like this is not how you play it. Like, you know, like switch this up a little bit if you want to be called back again, you know?
Yeah.
This is what I was smiling at, Nicole. But was Fessy wearing jeggings in that pic with Tori? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Those pants were painted on. That's how you get an infection, sir. I'm dying. Him and Matt James. I don't know if you know Matt James, Fanta, well, both of you actually, but like he's always wearing the tightest pants all the time. And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not. Pardon me, the Bachelor guy. Yeah, just like
okay.
just so like always like skateboarding with his like tight pants. Oh my goodness. I melted. Oh yes, you know how I feel about CT. Yes, we all love. I mean, I hope we all love CT. I wouldn't be surprised if Tori doesn't actually like Fessy. I don't think she does. Not after that vacation. It didn't seem like somebody to me that was like, oh, like the one that got away. You know, like I think she's probably like.
Oh God.
Was Fessy enjoying the attention? He's probably like, yeah, it's all about me. I am the challenge. Like it's my show. Okay, I would rather have Devin be the villain, yeah, than Fessy, who is annoying. 100%. Mackenzie, like 100. There's no, yeah. It's like, yeah. Please, any day. Yo, what are those? The shirt is hideous, Josh. Yes, it was not cute. The fact that Josh learned something but Fessy didn't says a lot. It does. Like, how is Josh evolving and Fessy just reveling in his ego? Oh my God, yes, I watched the old one. CT was horrid, but I saw growth. I mean, that's maybe it. Maybe in 10 years, if Fessy's still doing this. But Fessy's not the type that would be doing it past his prime, because if there was ever any chance that he would be able to perform, he wouldn't want to show up anymore, I don't think. I don't think he's got it. Not longevity anyways. I mean, the OG Challenge guys could beat Fessy.
Yeah, have you seen Mark? Like, I know that he's 50, but he is huge. Huge.
Marks was saying, I think, that he wants to take on Fessy.
Yeah, and like think about like
that would be amazing.
Think about like Alton doing a climbing challenge against Fessy. Or like
it's not a physical.
There's so many different physical situations I can see other people beating him. It's ridiculous.
Like, it's the fact though that there was 3 hall brawls like 4 hall brawls this season, that he thinks that that's what this challenge is about, because he wanted to put himself in. He's like, I want it. I'm gonna go against my best friend because I want a hall brawl. I want a hall brawl. Like he wanted. So yes, he did well in the hall brawls that he's been in, and the pole wrestling, but like he wanted those ones. He's not willing to go down in anything else where he can't like put somebody in the hospital. Like it's just like, ugh, it's gross. Whoa, Fessy was on American Ninja Warrior. Did I know that? No, wait, Tyler was on Wipeout. Tell me more, Natalie. Does he do well? Please tell me he's awful, please.
He should stay on that show.
Say it again?
Yeah.
He should just stay on that show. I mean, we've talked about
I won't watch.
Like, that's his show.
Oh, I know. He was on the Big Brother. Like I wasn't not rooting for him, but he was on the side of the house that I preferred. So yeah. I was rooting for him, but then he made the biggest bonehead move of the season by putting up somebody in his alliance, like dummy. And he got duped, and the whole who flipped. More on Fessy's line. Christina says Tori was super weird on the reunion show, and then Anissa and Fessy talked about potentially hooking up as well. What?
Yeah, like don't you remember when Anissa was like, oh, I wanted to fuck him and blah blah blah, and he's like, why didn't you say anything? And they had that like weird back and forth.
Yeah, that made me retch. I had to walk away from that.
I don't think I blocked that out. I didn't see that.
Oh yeah.
No, it's not saying that they didn't hook up. It was just saying that Anissa was saying that, like when he was talking about Tori and all that, like Anissa mentioned that she had told Tori already that she wanted to hook up with him in a way that she just thought he was attractive. And she was like, ugh, I hate it because I hate him, blah, blah, blah.
There's no way that he does, guys. No way. No way.
No.
Rather have Ashley on my side plus Hunter treated like, yeah, absolutely. We're still talking about Johnny stealing Sarah's money. Never cared for him. Never. I mean, I used to really hate him, and then I started to really like him. But now going back, I'm just like, oh wow, he was bad. I have to say though, going back, Kenny's also quite terrible. But
I always hated Kenny.
Awful.
There's still something good looking about him though. It's really bad. I'm like, you're still kind of hot. I guess it's because it's a vibrato that like he still performs well, and so I don't know. It's not like Fessy who like has all this like shitty bravado, but he doesn't back it up, and so maybe that's why I can forgive Kenny a little bit. But he's pretty bad.
That's why I was always like a Landon stan and a Wes stan, because even though Wes was an asshole, he was always getting made fun of. So there wasn't as much opportunity back then for Wes to really like dominate over people. It was always him kind of like fucking around and then like getting screwed over and like trying to like, you know? And so I always liked him more. Whereas I felt like Kenny and Bananas would like step on people when they were already down and like make fun of people and like bully people in a way that was just like funny to them. And like that really bothered me even at the time, you know?
I was always like, oh, you guys are so bad, but then I forgave them so easily.
Yeah.
I did. Johnny better not come on my OG show and ruin it for me. He might though, guys. He might. Still a fan of Bananas since he knows. I mean, that's why I still like Bananas too. It's because he brings some of the old energy that I liked. I don't like the bullying, obviously, but I do like people earning their stripes to a certain extent. I do like having a little bit of respect.
He has respect for the game itself and for the OGs themselves that he says he was fans of. There's an interview that Anissa posted where he talks about Anissa and how like her narrating is very important for the franchise and how there's some athletes who are just boring in front of the camera and stuff. Like he gets the whole thing. And I do think that like he has grown in terms of he probably, hopefully wouldn't speak to people the same way. And he's older now too. But he's also never been like, yeah, I was an asshole.
Yeah, that's the thing that is like, you were such a dick and you got away with it. And like, I don't know, I have a friend, I think I've mentioned this, but I have a friend who was behind him on a plane once, like a couple of years ago. And he was just being like such a megalomaniac. And I guess he was sitting beside a fan or something. And he was like showing the fan like pictures of Sarah or like nudes that like girls sent him and like talked about all the girls on the show that he slept with and stuff. So
he backdoored, that he like,
yeah, he's still the same person. He's just hiding it better. I don't believe that Johnny Bananas has had growth and has had an arc. He's just game the system.
He's had much more of an arc than Bananas.
Who has?
In terms of like,
sorry, who has?
CT.
Oh, I thought you were
I was
saying
talking about Bananas, and I was talking about Bananas, and I was saying that he hasn't had an arc.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And every other like older male challenger that's been doing this for a while has had an arc and has had a growth. Because yeah, Wes was awful too. Like, but yeah, you can tell he's actually grown into a decent person.
Good point though, Charles, but what would we be watching? I'm loving it. It's true. We're loving to hate all the things that we love to hate about it because I'll always be watching the challenge. I do miss the challenge pranks. Like I do miss a little bit of that energy. That's what I've been watching as well. Is that like, okay, well, I'm not going in, party time, and like, you know, people just like joking around, having fun, partying, playing beer pong, like whatever it is. Like there was a lot of really light energy. I did forget how kind of shitty Laurel is, though. Laurel, like, I forgot that she was that awful.
Yeah.
Well, Laurel's not great. But I learned something. So are you talking about like the time where Laurel like goes off on Big Easy? I think it was like cutthroat or something.
Yeah, there's a time in the hot tub where she goes off of Big Easy, and then there's the time with Paula where she's like, "You're 40 and you're this and you're that."
Yeah, I mean Laurel was awful, but also apparently that time that she goes off on Big Easy, they didn't show the edit, but Big Easy said some like really heinous things to Laurel before. So we didn't see that stuff.
I'm talking right now about on Cutthroat when she's been like calling Mandy horseface and like insinuating that she's a slut and sleeping with Chet and like kind of just starting like slut shaming drama around Mandy. That one. I was like, ooh.
I don't even remember that. Interesting.
It's pretty. I'm just like Laurel, like chill out, like, and then she'd just be like drunk and like, yeah, I'm like, I'm so mean, like, and I'm like, oh my god, Laurel, you're being so mean. You could just tell you're so insecure. But yeah, she's gotten a little bit better. But I forgot that I didn't like Laurel back in the day. Laughed my ass off for Josh. He was probably so confused. Josh is always confused. Oh yes, that's true. I mean, I would love to have seen that. Why didn't we see that? Hi SM, thanks for hanging out with us. Amber M, I'm assuming, or is it Amber B?
No, Amber M.
Are you the one is on hold? Wait, oh yes, after the cast member came out with sexual assault. Did you guys see that? Yeah, you sent it to me.
I sent that to you. So it was Gianna. And it was Mike Cersei that sexually harassed her or sexually assaulted her. Sorry. So essentially what happened was she was like on meds and she wasn't supposed to mix them with alcohol, but production like were like, yeah, just drink. Then she ended up like passing out. And then like Mike came in the room and sexually assaulted her. She told production. And production was just like, oh, okay, like he has to just sleep in a separate room now. And that's like all they did. And she like brought it up like a couple of times after. I believe like other cast members did too. And they were just like, what one of the casting director, one of the producers was like, oh, well, I can't like I can't go back in the past and change things. Said something like really like callous like that. So now that it's like public, now they're like, okay, we're gonna do something. Again, the history of MTV treating women like shit.
Yeah, it's not great.
So
it's definitely not great at all. Dr. Phil. I can't believe Dr. Phil's a fan.
I knew it.
God, unreal.
I mean, maybe he's a fan because of the Angela and Nelson drama. So maybe that's why he started becoming a stan fan of the challenge. Hi, Blaine. We're doing well. Get through these questions, and then we'll be back here again for part 2 next week. Okay, BT is the underdog you love to root for, plus getting injured is just part of the show since I think almost every challenge has gotten injured. I think that Fanta is just worried about her dangerously getting injured. Like how
little. Okay, she's little and it scares me.
Oh, so how funny is it that's like, yeah, like it's just normal. Like you're gonna get injured in your career on the show. Like I'm like, pretty sure Nani always protects number 1. Although she did break her tooth last season.
Sure, just looking at
her veneer.
Oh, CT, I mean, I could see him maybe not wanting to like start like that beef, but he probably was holding back because he'd be like, I'd fucking demolish that soft kid.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He probably would eat his face. I'm like, I just fucking hate you. I don't think that Fessy could handle like the rage of CT. Like CT just be like, ah. I think CT has a big heart. I just finished watching YouTube videos of his relationship with DM. Oh my god, his relationship with DM was really, really, really. It was the arc. Even talking about it in the beginning of what was it? She was talking with it was the first Rivals, I think, or one of the Rivals, and she's telling Abram about their love story, and Abram's like going like, wow, oh my god, and then you broke his heart and said that in 5 years, what? And so it was that moment. I was like, oh man, why didn't DM just stick with him through your career, girl? Come on,
well, he was also trash. Like, he also got drunk all the time and talked to her very poorly. So I think she made the right call.
Maybe she was new. I just remember Fessy looking in the mirror 90% of the time on Big Brother, and I watched the feeds. Oh,
what a loser.
MTV better lose Fessy's number. If they don't want fans to get annoyed by him, fans are annoyed by him, and they're loving it because it's still engagement. Negative engagement is still engagement, you know?
That's true. Silent treatment, all of us.
What?
Silent treatment.
What?
All of us. We have to give Fessy the silent treatment. We just have to pretend like he's not on the show. That's the only way to get rid of him. We have to work together.
I mean, we have to try. Maybe we should do like a change.org. Oh my god, that's so mean, but that's so hilarious. Oh, Chantele, I feel guilty for like Penny back in the day. Damn it, I'm so disappointed in myself. I know, and I'm watching it now, and I still think he's kind of sexy. Like, I don't know what it is. It just
we all made mistakes. We all had crushes on people who were mean to us. We all made mistakes.
I know. No, this wasn't good either. We didn't like that.
No, but I will say, like, Wes has apologized, and they talked about him and Cara talked about it on his live as well. I saw, and she actually threw something on him in retaliation.
Yeah, I mean, I also was annoyed by Cara back in the day, so I'm like, oh, this is such. It just makes me in a weird moment. Like, he shouldn't have done that, but like, Cara, you're so annoying. So I mean. Yeah, nobody's supposed to get bullied.
I felt bad for her in that moment. I did.
True. I hope Laura comes back on the challenge again, but I also like the fact that she defended Carvel on Rivals too. Yeah, they became friends a little bit at one point.
Yeah, they became really close. And then they became mortal enemies again.
Don't bring up their love. I know they did still have a love story. Even if he was a shitty person, they still had I think a real love story.
Oh, the real.
Especially when you see him holding her hand, like her last days, like, and falling asleep on her hospital bed, like, you know, you don't do that for somebody that's just like a fling, you know?
Yeah.
Fessy has a YouTube page, videos about his football career and training for Ninja Warrior. Oh my God. Like, do not subscribe, guys. Subscribe to Reality Realness with 3 S's, not Fessy's page. I'll look at it, but I'm not going to watch a video full through, and I'm not going to subscribe. Yes, I do remember that. I got that already. Westport Soda and Cara, like, that's really immature and messed up on so many levels. Yeah, they were so mean to everybody back then. I would love to see CT make a Fessy backpack. Oh, Lord have mercy. That is something we all have to see. Could that ever happen again?
No.
I wish, but.
Why did CT and DM break up? DM broke up with CT because she wanted to focus on her career, and it was getting too serious. He fucked Siobhan?
No, okay, so they got together. God, I watched the season like last week. I can't remember. But they got together, and then they came back on. It was in between, and then he just was like, I can't fucking remember anything. And then
people can't remember, but Michelle's like, Michelle, like,
just watched.
Sorry,
what is
the Duel and Ruins?
No, not Ruins.
No. It's the Duel 2, and then
what's before the Duel 2? The Island, and what's before the Island?
Fresh Meat.
No,
I don't remember, but
the Gauntlet 3 too. Gauntlet 2 is
Gauntlet 2.
Yeah, so on Gauntlet 3, I think it was.
3. That's after the duel, that's after Inferno, and then it's the Gauntlet 3.
Yeah, it was Gauntlet 3. So Gauntlet 3, that was after they had gotten together on the previous challenge, and they were together, like they had been together. And CT was getting drunk like all the time, and every time he was like getting drunk, he was like rubbing everyone the wrong way. He kept saying like, we got to trim the fat, these girls suck, and like all of the stuff. And like DM would go to him and be like, hey, like come to bed, like you need to like chill out. And he'd be like, no, like you just come to me every time, like when do I get mine? I never get mine. And she like, and he would say just like like he was just wasted the whole time, and he was just being an animal. And then she would say, like, she was like, I don't like who he becomes when he comes on the show. I don't like how he like talks to me when he's like drunk like that. That would be very stressful on a relationship. So I mean, yes, of course, you're right. You know, it was a career thing, but I also think like that played a very big factor into that.
Well, I think it's a combination though. I think that he wasn't the partner that she wanted to have on her arm to enhance her career. I think she wanted to go into journalism, I believe, or like report. I could be making that up, but that's what so maybe like his antics and him being drinking and stuff like that wasn't the partner that she wanted to have right now while she's building her career. And so I think it could have probably gone hand in hand for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yes, that would be amazing. Oh my God, we should like somebody that's really good at Photoshop should like Photoshop Fessy's face on like Banana's body. Oh, living. Would you be surprised if more pictures of Tori and Fessy came out? Like, do people care?
I don't think people care, and I don't think there will be.
I don't know, but I mean, Tori's a little bit thirsty though, like fame thirsty. So maybe like to be relevant, but I don't know. I think she also
not going to connect with someone who's that ill-liked. You know what I mean? Like at the time, I don't think she realized how disliked he was going to be. You know?
Yeah, it's like, ooh, okay, good. I made a good call here. Couldn't stand Fessy and BB. Don't like him now. Hashtag fed up with Fessy. Hashtag agreed, girl. Laugh my ass off. Just start a get rid of Fessy petition. Yes, change.org. Standing up for movements, things that need to change on MTV. Fessy letter to Gabby reminds me of Dunbar back in the day. I'm not a fan of Dummy Bear at all. Jenny finds a letter that Dunbar to his girlfriend and read it out loud. I miss the clowning that they did to each other back in the days. True.
Yeah, Dunbar stinks.
I always hated Dunbar.
Who was his partner? I just watched in Meet. Sophia, I think her name was, maybe, or Stacy, something with an S. And he just like, can you run? Like he's like, it's just like, oh, like Dunbar.
Dunbar is like just the most underperforming challenger ever.
Was he on? Was he with Kellyanne? Who was he with? He with? I don't remember. Okay, was there anything else about this reunion that we need to talk about? Okay, funny moment when they talked about the turtlenecks because they were actually told to dress like spies, so everybody was just like wearing the turtleneck. Thought that was hilarious. And the fact that like I love Devin calling out Fessy because Devin and Kyle were wearing like the same shirts as like a joke, and Fessy was like, "Oh, like you saw like the reaction that we were getting with our shirts. That's where you got it." And he's like, "No, don't try to downplay the fact that we were doing something funny." And and I was like, yes, call him out. I want you to call him out every time, Devin, because he is a fun stealer. He's a fun police. He just sucks the fun and the life out of anything. Anti-Fessy, of course. Anything else? Love that montage of Big T and CT. I'm sorry, I do. I didn't really care that much about Tori being kind of called out by Amber M. I did think, though, that how she did her apology was quite sincere. She started off, and I think that she wasn't getting the reception that she thought she would, because she was like, "Oh, what am I supposed to show up at your house and like ring the doorbell and like see you face to face? I live in Jersey." And I think that nobody was like laughing at her, so that she's like, "Okay, new angle here." okay, like, I'm going to say this to your face. Like, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. Can we move on for this? So I believe her apology. Amber M, I thought, was just trying to grab a little bit of scream time. Fine. What are your guys' thoughts about this situation?
Yeah, I agree. I just think Amber did not really add to the reunion.
She looks cute, though, at the reunion. She's cute.
Yeah.
Always looking cute. Both Ambers always look cute. Amber B looked great.
I wish that Amber B looked a little. She looked gorgeous. I'm not saying she didn't look gorgeous, but I wish that she was wearing something a little bit more pizzazz. Like, she's just kind of wearing like a black dress. I thought the shoes were fire, but I wish that she was wearing just something a little bit more interesting for her dress. But especially with that money, like, you should be flaunting that in front of Fessy. You should be walking by like, I'm sorry, I don't speak to commoners.
But she kind of had, like, the shoes were like the focus of the look, and very, very short. I don't know. I thought it was a good look.
Maybe because she's sitting down, it didn't really do it. It just looked boring to me, and just like all you saw was legs. But maybe if she was standing up, I would like it better. But
I'm not really great with like a superwoman's fashion, especially if I'm just checking out that woman. So
I mean, I wanted something more pizzazz. But I'm more flash. I'm more obnoxious in wearing outfits. So I hope Amber B does another season of the challenge. She was apparently an alternate, which I think is rude for winning the season and then not even getting to nab like a main spot. So rude. Speaking of CT and DM, CT's wife said that she was threatened of the loves that CT shared with DM during their wedding special. I mean, of course, like, they had the love story. Like, regardless of, it was like Danny and the Deep Blue Sea, you know, like Roberta.
Also, can we take a moment? Sorry, that just brought me to that moment where like Vernon had to push him on like, but you had marital problems, right? When like CT was very clearly being like, yeah, I was going through a lot, and so blah 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 blah. Yes, but what else? Yeah, and I was, I really had to get my head back on straight. But you were having marital problems, so like I was just like, come on, like, do you really? That didn't happen on the show and has nothing to do with the show at all, not even remotely. And he's choosing not to disclose it, and so that kind of like, to me, that was a little bit like, okay, here. But I thought he responded pretty well to it.
He did, and yeah, I agree. That was like totally out of line, and I was also like, everybody had marital problems during COVID. Did you? A lot of us didn't make it out with our partner. So,
yeah, like everyone broke up during, like, and it just pans kind of to Tori's face in the background, like, when he's like, it's been hard for a lot of couples.
Yeah, and like, did you go in on Tori about Jordan? Because like, that would make a little bit more sense because Jordan is actually active on the show.
And you were still together when you were on the show.
Partner is not even on the show. Like, what the hell? I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
One thing that also just lasted that annoys me about Fessy is that like his language that he used to describe, she's dope girl. She's like dope girl. Like, I don't know, like, he doesn't have any swagger. He just sucks. And then like the whole "you look beautiful in the club" to Tori, and I'm just like, that's like the first time you knew that he was interested in you. Like, he's just whackity whack whack whack. And I agree with you, Michelle. I think that it was just like the host should have left it alone. Like, you could tell that CT was finding the words to not say exactly what he was talking about, like, because he didn't want to bring it up. And that could be one of the, like, we know from the special, this wedding special, that his wife does not like people from the challenge. She doesn't like his challenge life, the personality that, like, she doesn't really like that side of him, even though that is who he is and that's how he can afford everything in their lives together, like his contribution. But like, she doesn't like it. And so maybe part of their fighting could have been because she becomes part of the challenge and she doesn't want to be part of that. So yeah, I thought that the host should have just taken a cue on the fact that he didn't say marital problems, because probably Lily wasn't going to be happy if he talked about the relationship on the show. That's what I'm thinking.
Just looking her up right now. I've never.
I wonder why they don't have thing together. Do they usually?
I think it's always kind of random.
Oh, don't we? Don't we? We don't really like Tony here. Oh, yeah. He's just cringe. And the vibe down Chantele Fessy has Arrested Development, stuck in junior high. He's about, yeah, they vibed out. Yeah. Like, I'm just like, you're just whack. Whack, whack. That's it. That's no more Fessy talk until next week when we see the Fessy, CT, and Nelson saga or whatever. I do like the fact that Nelson's like, you didn't even bother to call me, so I want to see how Fessy responds to this. Probably won't say anything. You'd be like, oh, I wanted to give you time to chill or some bullshit. But I hope that CT does put him in his place a little bit, being like, hey man, I might be old, but I'm still a lot richer than you. I've won. And you'd be like, I won a season that you were on. So you didn't stop me.
Exactly.
The previews for next week just make me want to smack Fessy more. No, his face more? How is that possible? How's that possible? Je sais pas. Well, that is pretty much it for the recap. I mean, it was still fun just doing a lot of hate and, appreciation for the show. So we will be back here next week to talk about part 2 for episode 22. Oh my gosh. Are you guys working on anything you want to share with the peoples?
No, I did my concert. It went really well. I'm taking some online classes and stuff coming up in the next few weeks, but honestly, just trying to enjoy life.
You're keeping it to yourself? Well, I said, the fact that we're going to be playing a Survivor trivia game on Friday on RealiTEA. So if you guys are Survivor fans or you're fans of seeing Michelle and myself not know any challenge or Survivor trivia from 20 years ago, I've watched every season, absolutely, but I actually watch them in real time.
I haven't, but you know what? I'm doing research tomorrow. I'm going to study tomorrow last minute. I'm going to cram just like I did for every test in school, and I'm going to win on Friday.
Okay, so 7 p.m. on Reality Pop. If you want to join us and see how well we stack up against probably all these super Survivor knowledgers, join us and see how well we do. Fanta, anything going on with you?
I've recently learned that time is a construct.
Totally.
It is. Oh, there's a book that you should read about that. It's actually very interesting. But great. You love my Fessy impression? Thank you, Dolores. I should work on it really and be really good at it. Wear a turtleneck and be awkward. Good night, Dolores. Good night, Nicole. Congrats on your concert, Michelle. Okay, well, ladies, love you guys so much. Obviously, love you guys all in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are doing what we love here, talking about the challenge ad nauseum being at this season that never ends. It just goes on. Bye, friends. And we'll see you again next week. Bye.